Right now at noon, the National Archive calls on former presidents and VPs to verify that no classified materials are in their files.
We have a mild Friday ahead and also Saturday, but what about after that? I'll have the answer when we come back.
An asteroid the size of a box truck flies barely 2,000 miles above the Earth.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
2 more days until football fans across the nation find out which 2 teams will punch their ticket to Super Bowl 57. This is KOAM News at noon. I'm Tanya Bahak. Topping our first 7 minutes, Arrowhead Stadium will be louder than ever as Chiefs get home field advantage this Sunday when they take on the Cincinnati Bengals. And good news, as you see here, Chiefs quarterback Patrick Mahomes was a full participant in practice yesterday with an ankle injury and is on track to play this weekend. The Chiefs will have their hands full, though. Cincinnati has beaten them 3 straight times, and that includes a 27-24 win over the Chiefs earlier this season. Well, former Grove, Oklahoma teacher and citizen of the Cherokee Nation will be officiating at the Super Bowl. Jared Phillips taught in Jay and Grove, Oklahoma for 14 years and now teaches and coaches basketball at Wycliffe Elementary in Salina. In a release, Cherokee Nation said Phillips is likely the first Cherokee Nation citizen to officiate a Super Bowl game. In 1993, he began officiating amateur sports and climbed his way to the professional ranks in the NFL by the year 2016. He was chosen as a down judge official for Super Bowl 57. Enjoy this warmer weather while it lasts. We've got changes headed our way. Meteorologist Sam Lane is in for Chris Warner today with a first look.
Thank you very much, Tanya. Yeah, we're going to have a beautiful day across the area with temperatures in the 50s. Radar is clear right now. However, that is not going to be the case as we go through the rest of the weekend. We're going to see some significant changes across our area, so let's enjoy this afternoon while we can. 51 degrees for the high and mild conditions, and temperatures dropping into the 40s by the time we head into this evening. Looking down the lane, though, there are some changes. Partly cloudy today, but an Arctic front arrives tomorrow night late and early Sunday morning, and that means we could see a winter mix develop across our area Sunday morning, and that also means a much colder Sunday. How long is the cold air going to stick around? Well, I'll have the answer to that in your forecast coming up in just a little bit. Tanya?
Thanks, Sam. The city of Memphis braces for possible unrest following the release later today of a body camera video of the arrest of Tyree Nichols. The family of the 29-year-old man says the footage shows him being beaten relentlessly after a traffic stop earlier this month. He died days later, and 5 former officers are now charged with second-degree murder. Shelby County District Attorney Steve Mulroy says when people actually see with their own eyes the kinds of things that occurred in this incident, there's great potential for a public outcry. The Nichols family is calling for protests to be peaceful. In Washington, the National Archives now wants all former presidents and vice presidents to check their personal records for anything marked classified. That follows the discovery of classified items in the homes of President Biden, former President Trump, and former Vice President Mike Pence. As Robert Costa reports, some officials suggest the government's system of handling sensitive records is broken.
The past 6 administrations, dating back to Ronald Reagan, were asked by the National Archives on Thursday to recheck for classified material.
People need to be conscious of the rules regarding classified information and appropriate handling of them.
The warning from the FBI director comes after classified documents were found at the homes of a current and former president, plus a former vice president who said this just 2 weeks ago.
Our staff reviewed all of the materials in our office and in our residence to ensure that there were no classified materials that left the White House.
Face the Nation's Margaret Brennan spoke to the chair and vice chair of the Senate Intelligence Committee, who are pushing intelligence officials for more information across the board about the sensitive papers that have been found.
The notion that we're going to be left in limbo and we can't do our job, that just cannot stand.
If in fact those documents were very sensitive, materials were sensitive, then the intelligence agencies are tasked with the job of coming up with ways to mitigate that.
In Pence's case, part of the explanation from one source is that Trump discouraged aides from admitting defeat and preparing to move out. so Pence's aides didn't begin packing until after the Capitol attack. Trump's former national security advisor, John Bolton, now a critic, says the process of dealing with classified records at the end of an administration has concerning gaps.
The transition out process for presidents and vice presidents is obviously flawed.
Robert Costa, CBS News, Washington.
Former Vice President Pence is scheduled to speak in Miami later today, his first public appearance since the story broke this week. Well, Ukraine's military says Russian forces have stepped up attacks just days after the U.S. and its allies agreed to send dozens of tanks. Drone footage shows the industrial city of Voldahar in Ukraine's east with multiple plumes of smoke rising from buildings and fires in different city neighborhoods. Ukraine is battling Russian troops trying to pierce its lines in the east and northeast before Kyiv takes delivery of tanks from its Western allies. And that's a look at today's top stories and weather in our first 7 minutes. Up next on KOAM News at noon, an asteroid nearly misses Earth on Thursday. Hear how NASA is watching the sky to keep our planet safe. And later, we're making a chocolate eclair cake in the Mr. Food Test kitchen. Well, a Falcon 9 rocket thunders off a launch pad at Cape Canaveral early Thursday morning with 56 Starlink internet satellites. And that sets a record for the heaviest cargo ever flown on a SpaceX rocket at more than 38,000 pounds. The mission was the 5th launch by SpaceX so far this year and the 69th launch with the primary purpose of placing Starlink internet satellites into orbit. And with the 56 fresh spacecraft launched Thursday, SpaceX has deployed more than 3,700 Starlink satellites with plans to add thousands more in the coming years. Well, NASA says an asteroid had an uncomfortably close encounter with the Earth last night, flying.
The asteroid named 2023 BU is about the size of a moving truck, and it is moving rapidly near Earth at about 6 miles a second. It was discovered by an amateur astronomer just last Saturday. NASA is confident it will miss the planet, but come closer than almost any near-Earth object ever recorded.
We think things like this happen every year or so, but that's just an argument based on the numbers. We haven't actually seen one pass this close, so this shows that we are getting very good at finding these things.
NASA says the asteroid passed near South America Thursday at 7:27 p.m. Eastern Time. At that point, it was just 2,200 miles above Earth's surface. That is 10 times closer than communication satellites and 100 times closer than the moon. There have, of course, been direct hits in the past. In 2013, this asteroid exploded over Russia, damaging thousands of buildings. Even if this asteroid made impact, NASA says it wouldn't pose a risk to people. A truck-sized asteroid would burn up in the atmosphere, but they are always watching the sky for bigger threats. Last year, NASA sent the DART spacecraft to crash land into an asteroid, capturing these images. But bigger picture, they tested whether humans can push a dangerous object off course to protect the planet.
It comes down to the amount of warning time we have, whether an actual threat could be handled by something like DART or some other technique.
NASA says there is no known threat to Earth for at least the next 100 years. Bradley Blackburn, CBS News, New York.
NASA's Planetary Defense Coordination Office monitors space for potentially hazardous objects that are more than 500 feet in size. Still to come on the KOAM News.
Whether you dunk them, squish them, or crush them, graham crackers are part of our lives. And just wait until you see what else we can do with them.
We're expecting a mild afternoon, but there are some changes in our forecast, cold changes. I'll have the answer when we return. Well, we've had a beautiful morning so far. Temperatures are rising into the 40s. We expect to make the lower 50s by this afternoon, but enjoy it because it's going to be short-lived. Let's take a look outside right now. You can see on our satellite view, we have just a few clouds passing by from the north and west. If we take a look at the satellite, there we go. We're showing some clouds moving down from the north and west and a storm system dropping into the west coast. And this storm system is going to start affecting our weather as we move into Sunday. But until then, we're going to have a pretty nice Saturday across the area with lots of sunshine. And then the clouds are starting to move in to our picture. Temperatures right now are in the 40s, approaching 50. And in fact, it is in the 50s down in Oklahoma, in Miami, Welch, Nowata, Veneta, all checking in with 50 right now. A little bit cooler up to the north in Iola where they're 43. 43 also over there in Nevada. Now, about 24 hours ago, we were about 15 to 20 degrees colder than we are right now. So at least we are on the positive side, and that's a good thing, as it's going to be short-lived as we head into the weekend. Feels like right now in the 30s up to the north and east. Still feels like it's in the 40s in a lot of places, but right now it's feeling like 50 degrees for our friends in Commerce. How about the dew points? They're starting to climb up just a little bit. Right now they're in the 30s and 20s across our area, so the air is pretty dry this afternoon. Right now we're sitting at 47 degrees, southwest wind at 23, so that's the reason why it feels like 39 out there, dew point at 28, and the pressure is currently steady. Here's the forecast. As we go through the afternoon, you're going to see temperatures drop, getting up into the upper 40s to lower 50s. And then as we go through this evening, we're going to see temperatures dropping into the 30s by tomorrow morning with south winds, upper 30s for the most part, lower 40s down in Oklahoma. Then as we go through Saturday afternoon, notice we're going to see a front coming into the picture. And by Saturday afternoon, we may see some scattered showers developing across our area, but at least temperatures will be above freezing, generally in the mid 50s with southerly winds. But then the cold front slices through our area, and as it does so, we're going to see temperatures dropping into the 30s and 20s and rain behind that. And that means we could see a winter mix developing across our area. And of course, it doesn't take very much ice to start creating some traffic problems. Then that front sweeps through the region and we'll see temperatures dropping into the teens and 20s by the time we head into Sunday morning. And then we'll still see a little bit of a winter mix across our area, especially areas to the south, with temperatures in the 30s in the afternoon. Then as we go through Sunday night into Monday morning, we're going to see temperatures dropping into the teens for the most part across the entire area, some lower 20s down to the south and east. Here's a look at the bigger picture. We have cold air in place up to the north, and we're going to have mild conditions tomorrow, but then the cold air moves in on Sunday, and as we go through Monday, we'll see pieces of energy coming up and over the top of that cold air as this big storm system drops into the southwest, and this system is going to spit pieces of energy at us over the next several days, and that's why we have the chance of winter-like precipitation extending into our forecast. And then a big piece of energy comes out as we head into Wednesday and Thursday, and then that sails by, and we start to get a little bit of a brief as we head towards the weekend. But until then, we're going to be dealing with a winter mix across our area with highs only in the 20s and 30s and lows in the teens. And extending that out, looks like next weekend we have yet another round of winter-like precipitation. So Tanya, it looks like winter is here to stay, including for Groundhog Day, unfortunately.
All right. Thank you so much. Now we take this time to honor today's four-state hero, Specialist Brian Stewart in the U.S. Army. The Moran, Kansas native joined the 891st National Guard Unit stationed out of Chinook, Kansas in 2005. To Brian Stewart, we thank you, our four-state hero. We're taking a new approach to the chocolate eclair with a no-bake cake recipe. Howard shows us how to make his chocolate eclair cake in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen.
If you're like most people, you've probably dunked them in milk, sandwiched a toasted marshmallow and chocolate bar between them, or crushed them up to make a buttery pie crust. Of course, I'm talking about graham crackers. And today, I want to share one of our top-rated recipes that'll take them to a whole new level. We start by combining a package of instant vanilla pudding with some milk. Once it starts to thicken up, we fold in a container of whipped topping. At this point, it's pretty hard not to grab a fingerful right from the bowl. Now we line the bottom of a 9x13 pan with some graham crackers and spoon half of the vanilla cream over them. More crackers go on top, followed by the rest of the cream and another layer of crackers. It's kind of like making lasagna. To finish it off, we'll spread the top with a can of chocolate frosting. Once it chills and the graham crackers sort of soften up, it's done. With each piece, you get the taste of a bakery-style eclair without all the work. To get your hands on this all-star favorite, all you have to do is go to our website and look for Chocolate Eclair Cake. I promise you'll be glad you did. I'm Howard in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen, where today we found a layer after layer way for you to say, ooh, it's so good.
Well, you can find this recipe along with a lot more good food from the Mr. Food Test Kitchen online. Just go to our website at KOAMnewsnow.com. Now here's a look at our 4-state market prices.
All right, let's take a look at the forecast. We can see by tomorrow morning we're going to see temperatures in the 30s and 40s with south winds. Then as we go through the day, we'll start to see some scattered showers developing across the area, but at least temperatures will be way above freezing in the mid-50s. But notice there is a cold front back to the north and west. That's going to slice across our area as we go into late Saturday into early Sunday. And unfortunately, that means we could see a changeover to some winter mix, especially Sunday morning with temperatures dropping into the 20s. With that scattered mix across our area with northerly winds. And then as we head into Sunday afternoon, we're going to see temperatures in the 30s below freezing across the area with the winter mix scattered across the area, especially in our southern sections. Then Sunday night into Monday, we finally get some clouds clearing out of here, but temperatures are going to drop down into the teens across our area with northeasterly winds. And then if we take a look at the bigger picture, you can see that today we're going to have mild conditions move up for the weekend. But then the cold air mass starts to move back into place and sits there as little pieces of energy spits off from that storm system off to the southwest. And until that thing moves out of the way, we're going to have pieces of energy rolling across that cold air. So that means we're going to have a winter mix forecast all the way through the week, including Groundhog Day, unfortunately, Tanya, because I'd like to see his shadow on Thursday so we can put an end to this winter. But it looks like he's going to probably not see his shadow, which means 6 more weeks of winter.
Okay, we need cloudy days on Groundhog Day. That's February
right.
2nd, right?
That's exactly right.
All right. Well, due to CBS coverage of PGA golf today, we will not have our 5 and 6 p.m. newscast. However, you can watch the latest headlines on our free KOAM Plus app, and that's at 6 o'clock. Coming up on the KOAM Plus app, scientists are turning rats into detectives. In Health Watch, how the rodents are trained to sniff out and detect tuberculosis, an infectious killer that takes more than 1 million lives every year. Plus, the Missouri Highway Patrol completes its death investigation report on a diver who drowned at Roaring River. And Pittsburgh students are learning what it takes to run a business. Join us for those stories and much more on KOAM News at 5.
All right, that does it, right?
Thank you for joining us for the KOAM News at noon. We'll see you right back here at 6 o'clock on the KOAM Plus app.
Services provided by the Wild Side in Pittsburgh for over 20